So the question is about keeping the children in the film engaged over the long and difficult process of shooting film.
Right. Well, if you're ever making a film with children, I suggest you get as many days as possible. I asked for like 60 days. I got 35 days because of our budget, and that really wasn't enough. I mean, you're dealing with a limited number of hours that you can work with children during the day because of child labor laws. You're stuck at around 6 hours, I believe, of actual on-camera time. With Valeria, who was Jamsie in the film, she was 5 going on 6, so that actually cut 2 more hours off of the day for her. And she has red hair, that vibrant red hair. We couldn't find a body double, but she was so great. We made sure our schedule fit to her. But I'm sorry, to answer your question, we took a long time in casting. I think casting is probably the most important thing when it comes to filmmaking, and a cast will make or break your film. And I wanted to make sure that I got kids who were enthusiastic, who were into this, who wanted to spend their summer with us. I mean, basically we were taking away their summer. But what we did was that we turned our set into a summer camp for them. And I was working with this my wonderful partner, Samantha Kwan, who was the acting coach on the film, and she spent a tremendous amount of time with the kids. And I went into it in a very naive way. I thought that I could use editing to manipulate performance, and I was always falling back on that, saying if we don't, I'll figure out ways, cutaways, where we can actually enhance the performance. And she was like, it's not going to work with kids. You can do that, but it's not going to work with kids. They get distracted. They'll never repeat the same actions. It's going to be very, very difficult. So they learned their scripted lines. They actually learned them, and blocking was very different with children. You actually literally have to walk through the blocking with them. You can't just say, I want you to walk from the right side of the room to the left side of the room. You have to get up and say, walk like this, 1, 2, 3, turn, But once you give them that, these 3 actors, Brooklyn, Valeria, Mooney, and the 4th, Aiden, who plays Dickie in the film, they're just so professional. These little, I have to say that I was so blown away by their professionalism and their enthusiasm, and especially, Brooklyn was the professional out of the 4, meaning she's had previous experience. She was in commercials and one independent, and I have to say that she's one of the best actors I've ever worked with of any age. She really is a born thespian. She has a method. She takes her time. She gets into character. She's so and she's skilled at improvising, as you can see. So yeah, you have to just keep them engaged and interested. And I would highly suggest an acting coach.
We have another question. Yes. Stand up and.
Yeah. Right. Sure. Yeah, it's regarding the.
So the question is regarding sound design and the challenges of doing well with sound in sort of the post-production storytelling, but during production having to put up with such a noisy environment.
Yeah, so the helicopter became a blessing, but at first it was something that was so scary we almost didn't use this location. Our location sound recordist came by and said, you're gonna have helicopter in every shot, because even when they were idle, their motors were going, and this was something that I then thought, well, wait, I've done this in the past. Why don't I just incorporate this into the film? It's part of the environment. We're shooting in a real location. Embrace it, And so we did, and it actually became, for me, I can't I can't even imagine the film without those helicopters. And it became part of the soundscape. It became our score. Not just the helicopters, but just ambience in general. And I was I never wanted, from the very beginning, from our first draft of the script, I said, there is no music, there is no score. The only score in this film will be, or the only music in this film will be the celebration song in the opening, and then the orchestrated version of Celebration at the end, plus all the hip hop that she listens to coming out of her iPhone. And basically that's it. I didn't want to, I think it's because my last film had wall-to-wall music, and I really relied on that, and I wanted to get away with it. Yeah, from that, I wanted to, I love scores. I love musical scores. Some of my favorite films have very lush, vibrant scores, but I also see it as a crutch sometimes, and you can actually. Sometimes there's the danger of it becoming just a way of manipulation, right? Manipulating the audience. So I didn't want any of that, and so we knew from the very beginning that we were going to have a rich ambience. And as I said earlier about the senses, I was always about pumping up the background ambience a little bit louder than you would normally have in a mix, so that the crickets were loud, the cicadas, the highway, the helicopters, the rap music. It was always in your face, But thank you. I'm glad you liked that. Yeah.
Yeah, the question is about the authenticity of the accents from the Miami area and mannerisms and the way people talk and behave.
Many of the supporting characters were local hires, and I definitely felt that was very important to have that local color. Some of the slang we actually made sure that we were using some local Floridian slang. In the beginning, you hear the kids saying like "you ain't shit." That's a very Floridian local thing. Yeah. Well, we that's part of that research process. We wanted to make sure we were nailing those things.
Yeah, just that these were the kind of things that are impossible to capture if you don't know the area.
Some of the slang, the accents, but then these motels. A large majority of the residents living at the motels are actually from the New York area. So you'll hear actually a New York accent when it comes to Bria, Mela, Gloria, and that's intentional. That's an intentional thing. We wanted that New York accent because that was just realistic. Bobby, that's Willem. Willem is such a wonderful, transformative actor that he spent time there. He spent a week prior to filming, and sort of there were little nuances and subtleties in his accent. He brought it. So yeah.